This Chi Ali got some hits, man. For you youngsters that don't know, this Chi Ali here. Hey, Chi, let him know, man, when you started rapping. How old were you?
I think I was about 14, 15 when it all started, when we got it popping on. At some point, he told me to suck his dick, and I was like, all right, well, you know, keep that energy. I'm gonna come up there. At some point, it got crazy. And then with him telling me to suck his dick and all that, like, I was going up there to pop him. That's what I told my man in the car, like, yo, my man was like, I'm gonna f this up, hold me down. I told my man what I was gonna do. Straight up and down, like I told him what I was gonna do.
He grew up in the Bronx, a quiet kid who became one of hip-hop's youngest recording artists, signing with the Violators at just 12.
When you first came out, were you on, the Black Sheep had their own label, or you?
Black Sheep was on Mercury, I was on Violator.
Oh, they had two different, okay.
They were managed by Violator. I was signed to Violator.
By the early 90s, he was performing beside respected names, and many expected his career to last for years. But that promise wouldn't hold. By 2001, inside a Bronx apartment, a personal dispute changed everything.
So you're arguing with him over the phone, and he says, suck my dick. But you're uptown right now. You're in Harlem, and they're in the Bronx.
What began as a disagreement over about $300 and stolen CDs escalated into an argument with Sean Raymond, the brother of Chi Ali's girlfriend.
So I was like, cool. And I would have told him if he was home, and he would have gave them to me. Like, it wasn't like that. It was like maybe 7 AC. It wasn't nothing retarded, you know what I mean? So I guess that's where all the CD came from.
So here you are in the car with your gun on you, your illegal gun on you, ready to kill.
I mean, I don't know that I was ready to kill. I was ready to shoot.
You're ready to shoot. I guess you empty the clip.
I don't know. I know I hit him.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Moments later, multiple gunshots ended Raymond's life, placing Chi Ali Griffith on America's Most Wanted. It all started in the Bronx on January 14, 2000. Chi Ali Griffith was 23 years old, far from the child rapper the public had known in the early 1990s. His music career had slowed years earlier, leaving him without guidance or professional momentum. By this time, he was spending most of his days in the streets, moving within circles that relied on small-scale hustling and drug sales to survive. He no longer recorded or toured, and his daily life revolved around survival, navigating the tensions and disputes that came with this environment. One conflict that would change everything involved Sean Raymond, the brother of Chi Ali's daughter's mother. The two men had known each other for years, and their relationship had always been tense. Money owed, family responsibilities, and lingering resentment created a volatile mix. Sean reportedly owed Chi Ali about $300 for a previous cocaine transaction. In an earlier attempt to assert himself, Chi Ali had taken roughly 60 rare CDs from Sean, an action meant to balance the scales, but which only heightened the tension between them. Both men felt disrespected, and the debt remained unresolved. On the night of the incident, the situation escalated. Chi Ali received a phone call from his daughter's mother asking for money for their child. Sean took the phone, and the conversation quickly turned confrontational. Reports indicate that Sean was dismissive and insulting, allegedly telling Chi Ali he was dead while using other provocative language. The exchange triggered a strong emotional reaction in Chi Ali. Rather than letting the argument end over the phone, he decided to confront Sean in person. Later that night, Chi Ali and a friend were in Throg's Neck when they encountered Sean Raymond on Quincy Avenue. What began as a verbal disagreement quickly turned physical. In the heat of the confrontation, Chi Ali drew a gun and fired 5 shots, killing Sean instantly.
And I guess you empty the clip.
I don't know. I know I hit him.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Because, I guess in the documentary you said how you saw he had like a fluffy jacket on, and like you could see the feathers or whatever.
The moment was sudden and irreversible. Chi Ali immediately realized the gravity of his actions. This was no longer a street dispute or lyrical bravado. It was a life-ending decision. Without hesitation, he fled the scene. Police quickly arrived and began collecting statements from witnesses. The investigation was complicated from the start. Officers interviewed 15 people, but 14 gave differing accounts. Some described multiple men, others reported different vehicles, and the number of shots heard varied widely. This lack of clarity slowed initial efforts to locate Chiali and gave him crucial time to evade capture. Chiali did not return home. He did not attempt to contact lawyers or surrender. He understood the seriousness of the crime and the consequences he faced. His choice to flee marked the official beginning of his life as a fugitive. Authorities expanded their search, pressured by the victim's family and the high stakes of the case. The shooting marked a decisive turning point, shifting him from a former child star into a wanted suspect. During the following days and weeks, Chiali's actions reflected the precariousness of his situation. He had to remain mobile, careful, and alert to avoid detection. Every choice from where he stayed to how he moved through the city was influenced by the need to remain hidden.
I basically stayed in the house for the most part. Let my little beard grow. I looked like a mad Jamaican. I let my hair grow. I actually ended up getting braids.
This period forced him deeper into the world that had contributed to the shooting in the first place. A network of temporary alliances, street contacts, and underground resources. The events of that night set in motion a chain of circumstances that would define the year to come. The combination of unresolved debt, personal conflict, and immediate danger created conditions that made his continued freedom increasingly precarious. The lack of clarity in witness accounts, along with his knowledge of the streets and the people around him, allowed him to evade arrest in the short term. Yet each day on the run required careful calculation, constant movement, and continued engagement with environments that were risky and unpredictable. By the time the case began attracting broader attention, Chiali had already begun the delicate balancing act that would define the next 14 months. Every decision where to stay, whom to trust, and how to support himself was framed by the need to avoid law enforcement while remaining functional. These first weeks were crucial, establishing patterns and habits that would carry through the remainder of his time as a fugitive.
He's talking some gangster shit, I'm talking some gangster.
Did he threaten you at that point?
It happened so fast. I don't know that he threatened me. You know, he turned around and just was talking shit. Like when I ran up on him, he was like, what? Like, well, yeah, you know. I backed out and clapped him.
This initial escape did more than delay justice. It also forced Chiali into a lifestyle that required constant adaptation, resourcefulness, and caution. The shooting on Quincy Avenue had ended one life, but it also began a long period of survival under extreme pressure. What followed was not just a pursuit by police, but a test of his ability to navigate a world that had changed dramatically since his teenage years. His life had shifted from the structure of a young performer to the uncertainty of someone on the run, a shift that would define the next chapter of his story. After fleeing the scene of the shooting, Chiali Griffith began a life on the run. He avoided authorities entirely, moving constantly between cities along the East Coast, including North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Each relocation required careful planning, relying on temporary contacts and hidden spaces where he could remain unseen. Staying mobile was critical. Lingering in one place increased the risk of recognition and arrest.
You know, if I had that on with a pair of shades, you probably wouldn't recognize me. If you didn't know me, you definitely wouldn't recognize me. So after a few months, I was able to move around briefly, but in my movements, every now and then you would get a, yo, you look familiar.
To survive, Chiali relied on limited, clandestine work. He sold small amounts of drugs for immediate cash and occasionally arranged performances or booked shows for other artists, using past connections to generate income. Traditional employment was impossible. Any official record of his presence would have jeopardized his freedom. These measures kept him fed, sheltered, and able to move at a moment's notice. The initial confusion surrounding the shooting aided his efforts. Witnesses gave contradictory accounts, with most describing different numbers of men, vehicles, and sequences of events. The lack of clarity slowed police investigations, giving Chiali the opportunity to establish a fugitive routine. Every day required vigilance, careful decision-making, and a constant awareness of who could identify him. National attention heightened the pressure. In November 2000, America's Most Wanted aired a segment on his case, putting his face and story before millions. Sources indicate that Sean Raymond's family pushed for the broadcast, demanding justice and broader exposure. Chiali, then in Atlanta, was warned by a former girlfriend and immediately left the city, narrowly avoiding capture. The February 2001 rebroadcast further limited his options, forcing him to move faster and choose safer, less familiar locations. During this period, Chiali relied heavily on street knowledge and temporary networks for survival. Trust was fragile, and any misstep could have led to capture. Despite constant risk, he adapted, demonstrating awareness and resourcefulness. His movements were calculated to avoid detection while maintaining enough stability to survive. The manhunt concluded on March 5th, 2001, when authorities received a tip that he was in Throgs Neck, New York. At around 5 a.m., police entered an apartment where he was staying. He was armed but did not resist, and his arrest ended 14 months on the run.
But I had a homie in Parkchester who I used to chill with often, and I happened to be at his crib that night, and about 5 in the morning, they was banging on the door, and we was too high to jump. Got locked up. Like I said, I did about 4 or 6 months in the Tombs, about 30 months on Rikers Island. I ended up copping out to 14 years.
This marked the transition from fugitive to defendant, beginning a legal process that would test the consequences of the choices he had made since that night in Quincy Avenue. This year as a fugitive illustrates the tension between survival and exposure. Chiali's ability to evade capture reflected his adaptability, but each day carried increasing danger. The strategies he employed, frequent relocation, low-profile work, and reliance on temporary networks, revealed the pressures of living on the run. These experiences would shape not only the months following his arrest, but also the long path toward reflection, accountability, and the eventual search for a new direction in life. Before the shooting, Chiali Griffith's life had already been shifting in ways that would shape his choices and surroundings. His early music career, once full of promise, began to falter during his teenage years. Support from experienced artists, a strong mentor, and a place within the Native Tongues Collective had provided structure and opportunity. By 17, however, the foundation beneath him weakened, leaving him without clear guidance. Chris Lighty, the manager who had discovered and signed him at 12, had been central to Chiali's early success. Lighty's influence offered him access to respected producers and artists, and instilled discipline and direction. By his mid-teens, Chiali had completed a second album with contributions from high-profile names like DJ Premier and A Tribe Called Quest. Expectations were high on both sides, and he anticipated a major rollout for his work. That stability vanished when Lighty left Relativity Records for other ventures. Without his strongest advocate, the label hesitated to promote Chiali's album. The project stalled, the album was shelved, and momentum began slipping away. Compounding this, disputes arose over management, contracts, and royalties involving his father and Lighty. As a teenager, Chiali was caught in conflicts he could not control. Decisions he had once relied on others to make now lacked clear direction, and opportunities dwindled. At the same time, the world around him changed. The Bronx, once the backdrop for his creative growth, became dominated by street activity among his peers. Small-scale drug dealing and hustling were increasingly normalized. With music no longer providing structure or purpose, Chiali spent more time in these environments. Studio routines and stage discipline gradually gave way to survival tactics on the streets, exposing him to risks he had never faced as a young performer. By 19, he was drifting further from music. Album releases, tours, and recording sessions no longer defined his life. Legal disputes, personal stress, and the absence of guidance created an unstable pattern. These pressures did not instantly lead to crime, but they increased the likelihood of dangerous situations. Without a structured path, minor conflicts carried more weight, and his exposure to volatile situations grew. This period explains how small tensions could escalate into life-altering events later. The struggle to maintain a career, the weakening of mentorship, and immersion in unstable environments set the stage for the fatal confrontation with Sean Raymond. The shooting did not occur in isolation. It was the culmination of years shaped by lost guidance, stalled opportunities, and growing familiarity with conflict-driven surroundings. Understanding Chia Lee's trajectory requires looking back at these teenage years. The collapse of his professional and personal support systems created conditions where a single disagreement could spiral out of control. By the time he became a fugitive, he had already been navigating environments that demanded constant vigilance, survival skills, and decision-making under pressure. The events of 2000 and 2001 were not just the result of one night, they were the consequences of a slow unraveling that began long before, in the early stages of a career that once promised greatness. Born on May 27, 1976, Chia Lee Griffith grew up in Co-op City, a large housing development in the Bronx. The community was dense with families and had become part of the early landscape of hip-hop culture. As a child, he was surrounded by music. Local and visiting artists often performed, rehearsed, or simply spent time in the neighborhood. This exposure gave him an early appreciation for rhythm, lyrics, and stage presence. He interacted with future stars such as Queen Latifah, Moni Love, De La Soul, and members of the Jungle Brothers. His first real opportunity came when a Jungle Brothers member missed a performance at the Apollo Theater. Chris Lighty, the manager who spotted potential in young talent, offered Chia Lee a chance to step in. Nervous but determined, he performed, impressing those in attendance and securing immediate recognition from the Native Tongues Collective. By age 12, he signed with Violator Records under Relativity Records, becoming the youngest member of the influential group. The Native Tongues Collective was known for positivity, Afrocentric ideas, and inventive production. Under their guidance, Chia Lee learned to collaborate, deliver on stage, and write lyrics with care. In 1991, he appeared on Black Sheep's track, Past the 40, marking his first significant recording. The following year, he released his debut single, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, produced by Miss DeLonge. The song climbed to number 6 on the Hot Rap Singles chart, giving him early momentum and public recognition.
Produced by Mr. Long from Black Sheep. That was my first single. First video, first everything. Ralph McDaniels was bumping it.
Age ain't nothing but a number, right?
Yeah.
That same year, at age 14, Chia Lee released his debut album, The Fabulous Chia Lee, produced by the Beatnuts with contributions from A Tribe Called Quest. The album featured a blend of professional polish and youthful creativity. Chia Lee wrote roughly 40% of the lyrics himself, showing an emerging voice alongside established producers. The album sold approximately 150,000 copies and reached number 189 on the Billboard 200, signaling promise for a young artist with potential to grow. Even with success, balancing life as a teenager and a professional musician was difficult. Chia Lee managed school, family expectations, rehearsals, recordings, and travel. The Native Tongues provided support, mentoring him as a younger member with long-term growth in mind. Members acted as guides, creating a network that encouraged discipline and development. As he entered his mid-teens, that support system began to weaken. The Native Tongues Collective became less active, and Lighty's departure from Relativity Records removed a crucial advocate. The label struggled to manage his projects without guidance, leading to stalled releases and delayed promotion. Opportunities that had once seemed assured began to fade. Chia Lee's early years reveal both talent and vulnerability. He was positioned at the center of hip-hop's evolution, surrounded by artists and mentors, yet still reliant on the structures around him. The combination of youthful promise and later instability created a stark contrast that would define the trajectory of his life. The skills, discipline, and exposure of his formative years remained with him, even as circumstances shifted. These foundations, both strong and fragile, set the stage for the struggles he would face following the shooting, the fugitive year, and eventual incarceration, a path from prodigy to a man confronting the consequences of early fame and difficult choices. Facing the possibility of 25 years to life, he chose a plea agreement and accepted responsibility for second-degree murder, receiving a 14-year sentence with 12 years required before parole eligibility. Initially held at Rikers Island, he quickly learned the harsh realities of incarceration. The environment demanded constant vigilance. Violence was ever present, and Chia Lee experienced this firsthand when a member of the Bloods stabbed him. He later reflected that surviving required more than physical toughness. It required awareness, patience, and strategic thinking. Prison life was a world apart from the spotlight he once knew, testing both resilience and character. Over Over time, he began to use the confinement productively. Chi Ali dedicated himself to writing, reflection, and education. He recorded the story of his childhood, rise in music, and the events that led to his incarceration. Observing the routines and social hierarchies of prison, he developed a deeper understanding of human behavior, conflict, and consequence. This period of reflection became a turning point in perspective, shaping the man he would become outside of prison walls. By the later years of his sentence, Chi Ali's focus shifted to preparation for life after release. Stability, responsibility, and self-discipline became priorities. He maintained family relationships, kept in touch with a few contacts in the music world, and tracked changes in the industry, which had evolved dramatically during his absence. The world outside had moved forward, but he worked quietly to ensure he could re-enter it with purpose. On September 12, 2012, at age 36, Chi Ali was released on parole. He returned to a vastly changed music scene, shaped by digital platforms and social media. Though the landscape was unfamiliar, his early contributions had not been forgotten. He reconnected with artists such as Fat Joe and Lil Wayne, and lent his voice to Sky Zoo's Jansport Strings remix. These moments marked not a return to teenage fame, but a measured re-entry, a recognition of his legacy, coupled with a new understanding of opportunity and responsibility. In the years that followed, he focused on sharing the lessons from his life. His 2019 autobiography, Another Kind of Freedom, detailed his journey from Co-op City to the native tongues, the shooting, the fugitive year, and his prison experience. Through these pages, he emphasized that true freedom extends beyond physical release. It is rooted in discipline, perspective, and self-control, and his excitement about being free.
I feel like everybody would think it's based on my past and me being free now, but it's how I'm living is what makes me free. Not a lot of people is free, but they're not free. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the way I live right now, my whole mindset is really what makes me free, and that's the other kind of freedom that I'm talking about.
Chi Ali Griffith's story is a stark reflection of how talent, mentorship, and circumstance intersect with personal choices. A conflict over a small debt escalated into life-altering consequences, showing how quickly fortune can shift. Yet it also illustrates resilience, the ability to rebuild, reflect, and navigate life with insight gained through hardship. From prodigy to fugitive, and from prison to measured reinvention, his journey remains a compelling study of promise, failure, and the pursuit of redemption. The arc of his life closes not simply on survival, but on the awareness that every decision carries weight, and every opportunity, whether seized or lost, can shape a legacy. Chi Ali emerged from these experiences carrying the lessons of both triumph and tragedy, a narrative that continues to resonate in hip-hop and beyond.